Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Lorraine Driscoll and this is another vlog by Building Better Brains. If you remember last time, I spoke about how poor working memory can affect your child's ability to follow a series of instructions, complete basic everyday tasks like remembering events, information, or even what they just read from a book. So today we're going to talk about what we can do to change that so that they are better able to remember, retain, follow instructions, and so forth. So I want to start first by saying that weak working memory has nothing to do with your child's IQ. IQ and memory are actually completely separate. In fact, many of these children are of above average intelligence and may have an excellent long-term memory. And this can sometimes cause a problem simply because this is why it can seem that they are simply choosing to not pay attention because they are very capable in many other ways. The good news is that working memory can be improved. You may be wondering why working memory is weak in the first place. And as a parent, you might be possibly blaming yourself. Maybe you didn't do enough of this or you did too much of that. Don't. There are a ton of reasons, but I will mention a few of the key reasons why working memory can be weak or need further improvement. So working memory can become weak if certain developmental milestones are not met within the first year of life. That's one of the reasons. This can result in weak connections in the lower brain levels, which affects the higher brain levels, which in turn affects learning and behavior. So some babies, my own included, might have missed developmental milestones. Something as simple as mine was really fussy and colicky, and I had to hold her a lot more so she didn't get enough floor time. Another major reason that we are seeing such an increase in working memory issues is that it is not practiced. So while adults are having to use working memory less and less because of technology like smartphones and GPS and all that other stuff, children are more vulnerable to this because they have been raised in that generation where memorizing is not even encouraged. Both in the education system, at home, and so forth, whereas adults have kind of had that exposure at least when they were younger, so it's developed. The result is that these connections and muscles for working memory has not even developed. And teachers are noting that children today are less able to remember than ever before, as curriculum expectations are requiring and in fact insisting on less memorization. So it's true that we live in the age of information, and needing to remember information is really not essential because it is literally at our fingertips, our smartphones. But the problem is that working memory needs to be exercised in order for the brain to be properly developed and to be able to complete countless other cognitive tasks. So I'm going to repeat that again. Working memory needs to be exercised to be developed in order to do other cognitive tasks. So if working memory is weak, kids will have a harder time remembering what they just read, never mind a series of instructions that you or the teacher or whomever just gave. So digital dementia is a term you might have heard a bit about, and it is being used to describe the increasing weakness in adult working memory as well as with children. So imagine if children without learning difficulties are having a weak memory today, imagine how much more difficult it would be for a child who also has a learning disability or some kind of cognitive challenge, but is also given little opportunity to memorize and exercise those muscles both at home and at school. So, if you think about it, in the past, everyone needed to memorize in order to perform daily tasks. Everything from recipes, phone numbers, gardening rules, knitting patterns, prayers, directions, instructions, words, notes, to a song, and much, much more. Everything had to be committed to memory. Today, virtually everything is at our fingertips in the form of an app, Google search, or in our smartphone. And that means that we don't even have to memorize a phone number. Many of us don't even know 6 phone numbers off the top of our head anymore. I used to know about 15 to 20. So how can you improve working memory? So I will dive into more detail next time. Stay tuned for my 6 strategies to improve your child's working memory as well as yours. But for now, here are a few tips. So number 1 is providing information in a manner in which movement or other senses are engaged. This makes it much easier for the brain to retain information. Something as simple as having your child throw a ball back and forth while reciting facts, times tables, whether they're studying for a test or doing trivia questions, or having to stand up even when the answer is correct and sit down when the answer is wrong. Movement and physical, that's kinesthetic learning. This is an optimal way to improve retention. So whether your child has a learning disorder or is simply struggling as a learner, making a point to have your child memorize is the starting point in developing a strong working memory. So when starting off, I don't advise telling your child who already hates school and has a poor relationship to learning or memorizing, don't make them memorize something that they consider boring. So depending on your child's age, start with something like nursery rhymes if they're younger. If they're older, lyrics to a song, or if they're learning an instrument, encourage them to learn that song by heart, whether it's on the guitar or the piano, whatever the case may be. Every child, for obvious reasons, should know their phone number and address, not only for the development of good working memory, but also for safety reasons. And as a teacher, I've been appalled at how many children, even grade 7 and 8, don't actually know their parents' phone number or even address by heart. So teaching your child to remember poems, prayers, a list of facts, like all the provinces or all the states and their capitals, as well as times tables, which again is removed from the curriculum, all can assist in improving working memory, as well as teaching them tricks to better remember in general. So the interesting thing about memory is that the more you use it and the more you learn, the easier it is to memorize. So the more you use it, the more you learn how to use it. I used to work with students who were English language learners, and many of my students were learning third and fourth languages and picked up each new language more easily than the last because they had developed a whole different skill set in how to memorize. And the more your child memorizes, the easier memorization is going to become. So those are a few ideas on how you can address working memory issues, what you can do to improve that. And if you want to learn more, there's tons of other ideas that I have on my website on how to improve visual memory, how to improve auditory memory, and so forth. And as I mentioned, next time I will mention specifically 6 specific tips that you can do to help improve your child's working memory over time. So that's it for now, everyone. Thanks for listening. Until next time. Bye.